Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, this is my July wrap-up video. I apologise for the long video. Normally I only read about 8 or 9 books from my TBR. However, as July is my birthday month, I never set a TBR, so I just read what I feel. I had a lot of days off booked from work. Obviously couldn't go anywhere, so I had a lot of days just to read, which is why there's 19 books on this video. I will try and be as quick as I can be, however some reviews might be a bit longer than others, and then some I might just not want to talk about because they were that bad. But let's just get straight into it. So the first book I read was Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a male romance book where you follow the romance between the first son of America and a prince of England. I adored this book. It had been on my TBR for a few months and then I got my hands on it. I loved it. I don't read a lot of same-sex relationships in books. That's something I've wanted to get better at reading. Such a good book to read it on. It's not 5 stars, it is 4. That is just because I wanted to read more about the prince's best friend and his friendship with Alex, the first son of America's sister, and their best friend. But the romance between Alex, the first son, and Henry. The romance between Henry, the Prince of England, and Alex, the first son of America, is beautifully written. It's kind of almost like an enemies to lovers kind of relationship, which is my caramel, I'll say. It's what I love. It's a trope that I adore. And just seeing that build and them going through hardship and fighting to be with each other, and it's just such a cute little book. Yeah, no, definitely go read. I would recommend. Yeah, 4 stars. So the second book I read this month was Escaping Houdini by Kerry Maniscalco. This is book 3 in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. In this book you follow Audrey, Rose and Thomas, or as they affectionately call themselves, Cresswell and Wadsworth, as they are on a ship from England to America with Audrey Rose's uncle, who is like a mortician / investigator, and Cresswell's aunt. Yeah, I think she's their aunt. Yeah, she's like aunt / supervisor. On this ship there is a circus, and one of the acts is Henry Houdini. However, during the circus, people on the ship start getting killed, and Audrey, Rose and Thomas take it upon themselves to try and find out who the murderer is and stop them before they get to America. I adore this book. I adore this series. Yeah, 4 stars. The only reason to get 5 was because I didn't like the fact that there was a third person trying to get into Audrey, Rose and Thomas's relationship. I'm sorry, no, they're goals. It's amazing. It's set in Victorian times, and normally, obviously, the women are raised, I should say, to be stay-at-home mothers who don't really work, and the husbands are like the heads of the relationship, heads of the house, heads of relationships. What they say goes. Thomas is my little cuddle muffin, I like to think of in my head. He's adorable. He said to Audrey Rose from the start, do what you want to do, I will not stop you, I will support you. You know, I love you, I will do whatever you want to do. When he realises that she might be falling for someone else, he doesn't throw a paddy, he fights for her, but he's like, you know, if it's him you want, I'll step aside. And that's where you think it ends at the end, and then there's a little twist and my little heart will broke for him, but then they come back together, so yay! Yeah, absolutely love the book. The 4th book is the last book in the series to try and read in this month, in August. I know I am probably going to cry because I love these characters. Kerry has such an amazing way with words, and I don't want this series to end, but I know Kerry has another series starting in October, which I'm really looking forward to reading. So yeah, 4 stars. The third book I read this month, and my first 5 stars for the month, was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is an adult romance / contemporary, I want to say, between Tiffy and Leon, who share a flat. Leon works night shifts in a hospital, so the flat is empty during the day and he needs money for a lawyer to try and get his brother out of prison. In steps Tiffy, who has just ended a relationship with her ex, is still living at his flat and only wants a flat to live in at night. So, perfect. You see their relationship develop from strangers to friends to lovers. There's things thrown at them. There's her ex, who is a gaslighter and is horrible, and Leon trying to help her with that. There's a cute little side stories about when Tiffy works in a publishing company, and one of her clients is a cute little grandma type character who knits and suddenly becomes famous, and she only wants to do things if Tiffy's going to be involved, and that little friendship is developing. There's Tiffy's ex, who I've mentioned, who doesn't like the fact that she's actually moving on without him. There's the whole story with Leon's brother and then Tiffy's 2 best friends, and it's just such a cute story. There are some steamy moments in here, which I loved. I don't read a lot of contemporary / adult romance type books like this. So it was really nice to read one that was so well written. I believe this was Beth's debut book. Fantastic book, fantastic writing. Her next book is out in January, I believe. Already pre-ordered, can't wait to get that. But yeah, lovely book, 5 stars. The 4th book on my list, which I'm gutted to say was only 3 stars, was Alpha Night by Nalini Singh. This is book 19 in the Psy Changeling series, which I have adored. And this one just didn't hit the mustard. Nothing wrong with Nalini's writing, is great. The story about an alpha wolf who is female, Selenka, in Russia, where there is a Psy who is one of the most powerful Psys in the world. There's a bear pack who are quite strong, and she doesn't cower. She's like, I'm an alpha, mate. I can deal with you. And then Ethan, who is an arrow, who thinks he's damaged and he's going to die. Which I was like, great, yes, excellent, love it, give me more. Then I read it, and it was a mating at first sight, which I don't like, I found out. In all of Nalini's other books, you've seen the relationships develop between the different characters, where they're flirty or they're like enemies, and it just builds that way, and it's unexpected, and there's obstacles where you generally are like, oh my gosh, this is going to stop them not mating. Or, oh my gosh, no, they haven't mated yet, they're engaged, And then I think for me, because in the first couple of chapters they were mated, it took that thrill out, because like, oh, well, that happened. Whatever throws their way, they're going to get through it, one of the stories is that Selenka's father is very bitter of the fact that he didn't become alpha, that his younger daughter is, and Ethan straight away was like backing her, and yeah, great, back the strong, powerful female. But it was one of those where, because you hadn't seen the relationship develop and then build this trust with them straight away before they mated, it kind of was a bit of a letdown for me. I always get these books in the series when they're published, which is always on or around my sister's birthday. So she reads them first, then I read them, then my other sister reads them. But she texted me when she read it saying, don't get me again. So this book was a letdown for her, so she doesn't want the series anymore. I'm kind of see where she's coming from. I think I will definitely pick up the next one just because I loved the series before and I want it to pick up again. But if it's like this, I may be a series that I unfortunately have to stop reading, which I'm disappointed at. Because, you get these very beautiful men on the covers, and I want more beautiful men in my life. But yeah, no, 3 stars. Next book was my second 5-star book of the month, and I'm gutted it took me so long to read it. And that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. wow, what can I say about this book that hasn't already been said by people who are better qualified than I am? You follow. Do you know what? There's no point even telling you what this book about. You know what it's about by now. Everyone's read it. Yeah, there are so many people out there who give better reviews than I can, but Angie Thomas's writing is amazing. The situations she writes and the characters are so well developed. There are twists that you don't see coming. I didn't see a couple of them coming, and I was like, wow, did not expect that. Wow. Yeah, very relevant to situations happening in the world right now, which I think helped me connect to this book a lot more. Obviously it's not written for me. You know, there are so many reviewers out there who have probably had some things like in this book happen to them, and they can eloquently describe what it's like and how this book connects to them better than I can. But an absolute 5-star read. Everyone should read this book. Phenomenal. I bow down to Angie Thomas. And the next book was a 4-star book that took me about a month and a half about half a month to read, and that is Emma by Jane Austen. One of my things this year I want to do was read more classics, so my friend got me 3 of Jane Austen's books to see if I liked them, with these cute little cloth covers, and Emma was the 3rd of the 3. Really hard to get into at the beginning. I just couldn't get my head around reading the language and things. So I started listening to an audiobook while I was working, which helped. Got me a third the way through the book, and I was like, right, I've got like 2 days off now. I've got a long weekend, just read the book. Once I got halfway through, I was in the swing of it. I was loving it. I was like, I want to read this book. I want to read it. I want to find out what happens. Yeah, loved it. Reason why it's not a 5-star, I think just because I couldn't get into it at the beginning. Jane Austen, she's a classic. You know, everyone should read her. She's an amazing writer. These complex characters that, like, for example, the dad in this book very much wants he wants things to stay the way they are. He doesn't want them to change, which I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, dad, you know, get over it. But, and like, obviously at that time, that's what kind of it was like, but I just saw it as he didn't want to be lonely. He was in this big house away from the village. His eldest daughter had married, gone to London. His worker slash maid slash Emma's best friend got married, moved to the village, had her own life. Emma was the only one he had left. And yeah, I just saw it as loneliness, and I felt so much for him. Emma, I didn't like her to start with, because, like, yes, you were somehow successful in one couple getting together, but doesn't make you a matchmaker. And then you see her develop and how she changes, and which I actually loved. But yeah, 4-star read. Everyone should read Austen. She's like a local girl. She's in Haworth, not that far from here, so big up the locals. Next on my list was a 3-star, and that was All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. Here it is. Very pretty cover. I hadn't heard about this book until one of my favourite authors, Karen McManus of the One of Us Is Lying and Two Can Keep a Secret series, tweeted about it saying that she enjoyed it. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. Diana's a great writer. I have to say, the reason it's a 3-star was because of who the culprit was. The reasons behind what they did, and that there was no comeuppance. So basically the story is that 6 people who really shouldn't be connected are invited to a dinner at an abandoned restaurant for a scholarship that they've all been told they're getting. The door locks behind them. They find a bomb and a syringe of poison with a note telling them that they have to kill one of them within an hour or they all die. And it's the characters looking at their backgrounds and trying to figure out which one of them should die. I love that. I love reading the backstories and finding out more about these characters. I generally didn't know who the culprit was. Then you find out who set it up. and they get no comeuppance. Something bad happens at the end, and they do rightfully say, no, I'm going. Everyone's like, don't go to sleep, you know, this person deserved it, It's like, no, I'm gonna go. But you don't see that, which I think was a bit of a letdown for me. We'll probably pick up another of Diana's books if there is another one that's printed that I think I might enjoy. But yeah, it was okay. Next on the list was another 3-star book, and that was The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertelli. I loved Simon vs. the Homo sapiens. This book is based in the same universe but with different characters. So I thought, great, I love it. Becky's a good writer. It was very quick and easy to get through. However, this was always going to be a 3 stars for me just because from the blurb I could guess exactly who the main character Molly would end up with. Yeah, I hate when that happens. I hate when you read a blurb and you can guess exactly who the main relationship love interest is going to be and who they're going to end up with in the end. Yes, she tried to write twists in there. Yes, some of them were good, some of them weren't so good. But I think if I didn't like the 2 main love interests, like the female and the male, I would have given it, I think if I hadn't liked them, I think I would have given it 2 stars. And they're the only reasons it's 3 stars, which is really sad. I will pick up more books from Becky Albertelli, but this one, I have to admit, was a bit of a letdown. Next book on my list, and the next 4-star read, was Rage by Cora Carmack. This is the second book in the Raw series. This book, I read the first book about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've only just now picked up the sequel. I was very worried that I wouldn't remember anything from Raw. However, the way Cora writes, it all came flooding back to me when certain characters were mentioned, and yeah, I love this series. The next book is out this year, I believe. I just don't know when. If anyone has seen it on Waterstone's website to pre-order, link me down below. Your girl needs to pre-order it now. Adore this book, adore the characters. The only reason it's not a 4-star is because I wanted to know more about the main villain. There is a second perspective that you do read from about a second character, which I'm like 90% sure is the villain, but I just wanted to read more of that story as well. So I'm hoping in the next one you will see more and it will be explained more. But Cora is a fantastic author. I love this book. My next book is my next 5-star, and that is A Song of Race and Ruin by Rosanna A. Brown. Look, it's shiny. If I do call Rosanna, I do apologise. My sister is called Rosanna, and with it Rosanne A. Brown. Look, Rosanna A. Brown. I may call her Rosanna. If I do apologise. In this book, you follow 2 characters. One is Malik, who comes from a group of people who are seen as outcasts in this kind of African environment, I think it is. And the second is the princess, who I forget what she's called. Karina, yeah, Princess Karina, who holds a tournament when this comet is around they have done every 50 years. Her mother is killed just before this the comet arrives and these games starts, and she wants to resurrect her. Malik is with his sisters trying to find a better way of life, and then his little sister, I should say, is taken, and the only way for him to get her back is to kill Karina. So he enters these games, and you see him competing and getting to know his powers, and then there's some twists, and it's amazing. Rosanna A. Brown's writing is fantastic. Her description of situations is out of this world. I adore this. Like I said, for the hate you give, there are other reviewers out there who could do so much better than I can. Fantastic book. I didn't know about this book until about 2 weeks before it was released, and was like, yes, please add this to my TBR. Where has this been all my life? Yeah, fantastic. The second book's out next year. Can't wait, because that ending. What? Sorry. Yeah, I need the second book in my life, like, now. Yeah. What else can I say? The next book on my list was The Resident by David Jackson, and this was 4 stars. In this one, you are in the eyes of a killer who, while running away from the police, goes to this empty house at the end of 4 and realises he can get into the other houses through this attics, because there's no walls. A great book, a great book, lots of twists, lots of surprises that you don't see coming, that ending. Sorry, what? Yeah, fantastic read. The only reason it's not a 5 stars is because you don't see a lot of the relationships between a lot of the residents. So, well, not a lot, some of them, which I really wanted to see. But yeah, no, fantastic read. David has wrote other books, I believe. So I think I will definitely try and read some of them, because it was such a quick read for me. I had to physically stop myself halfway through so I could actually sleep. But yeah, amazing read. The next 7 books I read for the reading rush. If you have been on my channel long, you will know that I did the reading rush for the first time this year. I didn't do a reading wrap up just because them books because I was going away just after it finished. So I didn't want to rush it, so I will do my wrap up for them here. The first book I read for the reading rush was Pretty Jane and the Viper of Kidderbrook Lane by Paul Thomas Murphy. This is like a historical crime book based around the murder of a maid called Jane, and Paul takes you through what happened back then, how she was found, how evidence was found, the trial, and he uses modern day modern day forensic science to try and go through the crime and what the result would be nowadays. The only reason it's not a 5 star is because he would, even though I do know some of the police techniques with 21st century, sometimes when Paul said, oh, they shouldn't do this back then, they shouldn't do that, he didn't say what they should do nowadays. It's just a little thing, but for me, it just would have made this a 5 star. I don't read a lot of books based around real life crimes, historical crimes, so this is definitely a genre I want to try and read more of, but a great way to get me into it a bit more. The next book I read was another 4 star, and that was The Axemans Jazz by Ray Celestin. This book was phenomenal. You are in 1990 New Orleans, and there is a serial killer called the Axeman running around. That person was actually a real life serial killer. Please go watch the BuzzFeed Unsolved video with Ryan and Shane. They go into it in a little bit more detail. They are fantastic at what they do. So I already knew about the Axeman. You follow 3 separate characters who are, for different reasons, trying to find out who the Axeman is. One is a secretary at the Pinkerton Detective Agency. I don't know why I struggle saying that. One is a detective current who is trying to figure out the case, and one is a former detective who now works for the mafia. And they're on 3 separate journeys trying to find the Axeman. They each find different evidence, and at the end they all come together, and it's some great read. It's the first in a series, so I will definitely pick up the second one because it actually gives you a bit of a quick sneak peek of the second one in this one, and it follows 2 of the characters which I actually enjoyed. So I will definitely pick it up, and Ray is a really good writer. My next 5 star read, and I'm not surprised it was 5 star, was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I just say the name and you know it's a good book. Yeah, Agatha Christie, she's phenomenal. So yeah, And Then There Were None is about 10 people, strangers I should say, sorry, who are invited to an isolated island and one by one are killed off. The ending. Wow. Didn't see that coming at all. What can I say about Agatha that hasn't been said before? Really good writer, will definitely pick up more of her books. I really do enjoy watching Poirot when it's on TV. So yeah, we'll definitely try and read Poirot books. The next book I read, and another 5-star, was The Power by Naomi Alderman. I think everyone should read this book. This book is about women. Well, it follows a world where women suddenly get power and they are in control. You follow 3 women and 1 man as they try and negotiate this world. A phenomenal read. Naomi writes so well, and I'm not surprised it won the Women's Prize for Fiction in the Baileys Awards. As it should. It should win more awards. Phenomenal book. Doesn't go the way you thought it would at all. I recommend everyone read this book. And from a 5-star to a disappointment, To Tell You the Truth by Gilly Macmillan. The only reason it got 2 stars was because I liked one character and it had a twist that I liked. Do I have to tell you more? Yes, I have to tell you more. In this book, you follow Louise, who is a successful thriller writer, who, when she was 8, her 3-year-old brother went missing, and she was the only witness and the only person the police could go to for help. 30 years later, her husband starts keeping secrets, and then he goes missing. So the 2 questions are, did Louise keep anything from the police when her brother went missing? And the second one is, did she murder her husband? I from the get-go, I hated the husband, so I didn't care what happened to him. The neighbours, well, not just neighbours, all characters apart from Louise were awful, so I didn't care about them. The twists, to me, didn't make sense. I lied. There was a third thing I liked, that you actually did read about what happened to her brother, parts of it, and the aftermath. But you don't find out in the end what actually happened to her brother. What happened to her husband is kind of nicely, neatly wrapped up into a bow by the end. That's all I'm going to say, Emma. Luckily, from a 2-star read to a 4-star read, I then read From Twinkle with Love by Sandia Menon. If I butchered her name, I do apologise. A phenomenal writer. I read When Dimple Met Rishi years ago. Never picked up another book for some reason. Picked this one up, loved it. In this one, you follow Twinkle, who is a wannabe filmmaker who is in love with a boy called Neil, and then Neil's twin brother Sahil comes up to Twinkle and says, hey, do you want to direct a film I want to make for this film festival? Twinkle says yes, and you see them fall in love with each other. You see how Sahil has always had a crush on her, and it's just adorable. As a little side plot, Twinkle starts getting emails signed from N, which she thinks is Neil, and it's complicated, but it's so great. I love it. Twinkle actually writes to famous female directors to tell them what happened, which I think is a great way to get the story going and to have the story develop. The only thing I wanted more of was more of Sahil and his 2 friends, because they are hilarious, and the person who ended up as N was a disappointment. The only reason it's not a 5-star. And then on to another 4-star, and that was How to Hang a Witch by Adriana Mather. In this book, you follow a descendant of Cotton Mather, obviously the guy who headed up the witch trials in Salem, and she is a descendant of him, and she has to deal with the descendants of people who were accused of being witches. She finds a ghost and falls for the ghost, but falls in love with a neighbour. There is a centuries-old curse she has to try and deal with, and it's just a phenomenal read. Adriana's really good at not having just black and white characters, but having grey characters as well. There is a second book in this series which you follow one of the descendants from the witches, who I actually really liked, so I will definitely pick up that one. I'm just a bit disappointed that you don't see more of the witch descendants in this one and their backstory. That was my final book for the reading rush, and then before I went away, I read Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashadu. This was a 3.5-star read for me. You follow a girl who can kill a person or animal with one touch. Her veins are full of poison. You find out that her mother was cursed by a demon when she was a young girl, so that her firstborn daughter would be poisonous. So this girl has been kept in a castle, very much away from the world. Her brother somehow manages to capture a demon, not the one who put the curse, but another demon. And there is a boy who helped capture this demon, which I was a bit surprised at, that she fell for him, because I had been told this was a female romance book. And then there's a big twist a third of the way through, and you're like, what? Yeah, twist. Which was fantastic. The only thing I wish we'd see more of, well no, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, then that's when she gets through the curse, and then she tries to deal with the consequences. Phenomenally written. The only reason it's 3.5 stars is because I wanted more of the female romance. We do get a lot of it, I just wanted more. And I also wanted to know about more about a certain sect of demons. This is based on Peruvian, I think? Peruvian mythology. That's something I knew nothing of, so that's something I definitely want to read more of. I think this is a standalone, however, I could see this being the start of a series, or there being a prequel. If there is, I will definitely pick it up. So yeah, they're my 19 books. I know a lot of the reviews weren't great. I do apologise, I didn't write notes this month. Something which I am changing for August. A mixed bag. Definitely a mixed bag. There is a couple of books in there that will definitely be on my top 10 of the year, because phenomenal. I still think about them now. Great set of books. As always, if you want to talk to me about any of these books, comment down below. If you have any hints or tips for me for how I can film or edit my books better, again, comment down below. I will also put in my Insta handle in the comments, in the description box if you want to give me a follow. I normally post pictures of the books that I read there as I read them, so you'll get a sneaky look at what star rating I give them. But that's just a way for you to come back and watch my reading wrap up. Yeah, so that was me this month. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.